Hedera Hashgraph could make you a millionaire in 2022, especially if these following events occur. It all starts back on January 19th when Hedera's governing council voted to buy Hedera's IP. One of the members in that deal was Google. But why is this important? Well, for starters, just last month alone, the emergence of legacy companies getting into the blockchain space has increased. Walmart, Disney, and McDonald's, just to name a few. At the same time, Google has been working quietly behind the scenes since last year on their blockchain entrance.
Cloud for at least their current longer term vision. They also want to look at other types of innovations, which could include blockchain and even Web3. Take a listen to what the CEO said on the earnings call yesterday.
There's several areas of interest. AR is a big one at the computing layer. We've been investing there for a long time and will continue to play a role. And it's something both not just at the computing layer, the services layer, be it Maps, YouTube, Google Meet, etc. I think will contribute a lot. On Web3, we are definitely looking at blockchain and such an interesting and powerful technology with broad applications. So much broader again than any one application. So as a company, we are looking at how we might contribute to the ecosystem and add value.
After the Q4 earnings call late last year, on January 27th, Google Cloud Services announced the installation of a blockchain-focused development team. Now, in this blog post, they mention how Hedera, Theta Network, and Dapper Labs are already building with the Google Cloud. Since then, Google has been all over mainstream media discussing their blockchain ambitions. Meanwhile, over at Hedera Hashgraph, something else has been going on.
It's not every day you're offered a truly superior alternative to the status quo. Smart Contracts 2, live on the Hedera mainnet. Smart contracts on Hedera are written in Solidity and offer predictable and inexpensive gas fees, fast and highly scalable transactions, and a carbon-negative footprint. Build the next generation of decentralized applications. From financial services to network bridges, oracles, DAOs, and everything in between. Hedera, the trust layer of the internet. What future will you build?
Richard Bayer, Vice President of Engineering for Hedera Hashgraph, gave details about this layer of smart contracts coming to Hedera. Upon launch, Hedera will be 13 times faster than Ethereum when it comes to EVM computations. This makes it one of the fastest EVM chains in the space right now. Now, on top of this, they have a series of improvement proposals that just so happens to line up perfectly with another major Google property, including creating a code for streamlined NFT creation and the ability to create contract-owned tokens that will allow someone to manage a tokenized asset personally. Now remember, the governing council has just agreed to open source all of this technology. This means that everyone can build on it. This brings us to YouTube, who has been expressing an increased interest in NFTs for the creators of their platform. Seeing all of these events play out really has me asking one question. Is YouTube or Google about to make use of Hedera Hashgraph in 2022? Well, if YouTube wants to do NFTs on Hbar, then Hedera already has Project Starling. NFTs on the scale that YouTube needs must have a closed system for them in order to increase security for the millions of creators on the platform. Now, we also have Seva Love, who would work more on the public side to help with the promotion of the adoption of NFTs. As a content creator, I can tell you guys that YouTube has indeed started to send out emails about NFTs coming to the platform. So this is happening. But the question is, what role will Hbar play in all of this? Well, there are a couple more elements that need to be discussed. In these emails from almighty YouTube, they also mention how they will have an increased focus on gaming that is to lead them closer to the metaverse. A couple weeks ago, Ubisoft joined Hedera's governing council. This is big for a couple of reasons. Not just for what Ubisoft is surely going to bring to Hedera Hashgraph, but in the gaming industry itself, there is also a massive transformation occurring. We all remember how Activision was just purchased by Microsoft. Well, this sent a shockwave through the gaming industry. Shortly after this, it was announced that Sony had bought Bungie for $3.6 billion. What's happening in gaming right now is a sudden trend of gaming giants snatching up publishers, which has some people thinking that Ubisoft may be next in line. So let's say one of the big three decides to purchase Ubisoft. And we can't forget about Nintendo in this conversation, who is also interested in the metaverse. But what happens when one of them buys Ubisoft? All of them have voiced their opinions about getting into the metaverse, NFTs, and blockchain. It would also tie into the trend of legacy companies entering the space right now. When I really think about it, Hedera's governing council was set up for this exact moment in time. The convergence between traditional tech companies and blockchain tech companies was inevitable, this we know, as we push closer to a digitized world. But if this is the year that we see the mainstream really get into crypto, it's going to be led by the biggest companies in the world. And the biggest companies in the world just so happen to be able to use Hedera Hashgraph's IP. But wait, I got one more for you. The US Federal Reserve has come into the public CBDC conversation with the publishing of their Money and Payments report from January. In it, we discovered that the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston is working alongside MIT on a CBDC that, as they stated, would leverage newer technologies such as blockchain. Now, that same bank now has its first Black female president in the form of Susan M. Collins. But why is this important? Well, last year, Hedera Hashgraph joined forces with a company called MTech. MTech is ran by a caramel cadet who will be attending the FinTech conference in New York this week. So by the time you see this, these puzzle pieces may have already started moving. Now, this is important because on February 9th, MTech announced the launch of the first digital regulatory platform for central banks and fintechs. So here's the verdict. Why do I think you need Hedera Hashgraph? Well, legacy tech companies are getting into blockchain, and the largest of which are already partnered with Hedera. The gaming giants want to get into blockchain. Ubisoft is partnered with Hedera during a time where video game publishers are seeming to be a very hot commodity right now. Governments of the world want to get involved with blockchain and digital assets, and Hedera is working with the one company building a digital regulatory sandbox for central banks and fintechs for the Federal Reserve. Now, here's one last thing to chew over. As I was finishing this piece, Intel announced that they would be creating a blockchain accelerator unit. Well, you want to know who's been working very closely with Intel in recent years? IBM. IBM is also partnered with Hedera Hashgraph. If you found value in this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this information with friends and family. If you're new to crypto, I have links to the most notable exchanges in the description. Using the links below supports the channel and comes with special bonuses for members of our network. For more information on the new economy, check out the playlist related to this episode on the right and our most recent episode on the left. As always, have a great day, have a prosperous day. Most importantly, we making this money. I'll see y'all in the next one.